Mike, did you hear the big news?
Oh my God, you're pregnant?
Yeah, but bigger than that.
Oh my God, there was a celebrity divorce?
Bigger.
Bigger than that? A major or minor celebrity has died, either expectedly or unexpectedly?
Probably, but just let me tell you the news.
Okay!
DC has made a film that apparently isn't terrible.
What? Oh my... Jesus Christ! How could that be true? What movie is it?
Wonder Woman!
What?
All right, that's enough drama. We got to start the show!
Welcome to Cordkillers. Our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so that you have the information you need to be able to watch what you want, when you want, where you want, on whatever device you want. Me? Oh, I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Yeah, but more importantly, those were the fine folks over at Red Letter Media giving up the intro for their review of Wonder Woman, which I thought was pretty good. Their show, Half of the Bag, is a good show. If you like Spoiler in Time but wish it was by two people who knew more about movies than us, then go watch them.
We have the perfect show for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So stick around for Spoiler in Time. Hear us talk half out of the bag about Wonder Woman.
And then listen to Half in the Bag. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, man, it's just you and me today, and we got a lots to talk about. Let's get right to the primary target. Oh, Brian.
Yes.
Have you heard of a little app called Plex?
You know what? That's that thing that you use to play all your pirated movies, right? It's popcorn time for the internet.
Right, and a key is the thing that I use to stab people with, right? I mean, sure, sure, I could use it that way, but I prefer to unlock doors legally,
okay,
Brian.
All right, that makes sense.
Plex has added the ability to stream live TV and expanded the number of tuners it works with. It previously worked with the HD Home Run, but now it includes a bunch of other, including Hoppage, which I never pronounce right, so just save your email, Avermedia, and others. Live TV is provided by the user. So you either just have an over-the-air tuner plugged into one of these, or an over-the-air antenna plugged into one of these tuners that then goes into Plex, or you could use the HD Home Run with cable card and actually pay for cable and then use it however you want with Plex. That includes live TV anywhere you get an internet connection. You could just connect to your Plex server. It includes the DVR function. It is part of Plex Pass. So you do have to pay $5 a month to get the Plex Pass. That gives you these functions. It's $40 a year, $120 lifetime if you want to pay in advance. And the feature's launching to start on Android TV and iOS. It will come to Android Mobile and Apple TV later.
Okay. So I have a serious moment of introspection that I want to make right here. And I'm betting, first of all, Brian from 2009 called, and he is unbelievably giddy that this exists. Can't believe that this is all happening.
That's right, Brian. It exists, and it's happening.
Yeah, no, hang up on that dude. He has dumb hair. Brian in 2017, though, has been through nearly a decade of adjusting his habits away from live television, anything. And I find myself, outside of the inconvenience of having to wait on some, not all, but on some, like, for example, Better Call Saul on Amazon, I have to wait till the next morning. But meanwhile, like HBO, the exact moment it comes out on HBO Online, I'm able to watch on HBO Now and all that stuff. And I understand what they're going for. There is a segment of the populace that loves waterfall television, as we euphemistically call it, right? This
forget, breaking news and sports. It's the people who like to watch waterfalls that are really driving.
No. Waterfall television, by which I mean this constantly always on flow of background noise.
I personally like the live waterfalls. I wasn't digging.
Okay. All right. That's fine too. Well, I mean, I understand my original term was diarrhea television, and we gussied it up.
Waterfalls are nicer.
Exactly.
It's a nicer way to go.
Here's my question is I want to hear, maybe it's you, but if it's not you, then somebody in the audience is like, I am that person, I want to hear so bad what role television, moving pictures have in your life in terms of having it on as a background. Because, like, I understand, weirdly, so when I go to my parents' place, Mom has HGTV on 24/7. So at any given time, you could glance over and watch a messy room become clean, and that's vaguely pleasing. My dad always has Fox News on. So if you want a ghost story about Obama trying to steal your retirement from the grave, that's also available at all times. Is there any other reason for live TV outside of sports?
Okay, I think so. Brian, you're in a different place, and you're jumping because you are a Renaissance man. You're a philosophical thinker. You're jumping to the larger question, and
Correct.
It's a very valid question.
Correct.
Before we jump to that larger question, though,
yes,
I want to stop midway. I want to spend a little time on the pebble halfway through the creek and say, why didn't I step on a larger rock? No, I want to stop midway and say, hey, you know what this does get you is TV everywhere without restriction. So what the cable companies try to tell you is like, hey, you know, we get it. You want to watch on your mobiles and your internets. We'll do that. Subscribe to Comcast, log in with your Comcast ID, and you got all your TV everywhere. And that's the whole hang up with PlayStation Vue, right? Is that the network providers are like, oh, no, we want the data. We want people to log in on the FX Now app so that we're selling our ads to them. We're getting their data usage. We're collecting data on them. So there's that whole segment that's like, that's why when you get a cable subscription and you sign in, you're like, wait, which networks are available mobile? Which ones aren't? It's too confusing. Oh, wait, I'm out of the country. Now I can't watch anything. This frees you from all of that. Whatever you've got coming in, forget live versus DVR. It's all there now. Whether you want live, whether you want DVR, whatever channels you can get, you can watch them on any mobile device you want eventually. Anywhere in the world you want. If you have an internet connection, you can get it. There's no geo restrictions. So before we get to that very good question of like, well, hold on, the big news here is live and how many people really need that anymore? I just wanted to point that out, that this is the end around. I always talk about the end around the internet does. This is the end around to TV anywhere.
Tell me where on the spectrum of Cordkillers out there do you think this solution lands? Because I don't think it passes the babysitter test, but I also don't think it's so complicated that it's super hardcore, right?
It doesn't pass the babysitter setup test. It may pass the babysitter use test. In other words, if you're like, all you do is you turn on the Apple TV and you launch that thing called Plex, and then there it is. It's got all the shows. You could search for a show. You can browse through to the show. You got the live TV. The interface is getting an upgrade. It could use a little better upgrade, but it's good. It's good enough for a newbie to use. The setup and the troubleshooting when it goes wrong, I think, is where it will have a hard time passing the dog sitter test.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess I'll reserve judgment
because you have to go to a little trouble, less trouble than you used to. Plex has cloud storage now, so you don't have to run your own NAS if you don't want to. But you do have to set up that tuner, and you do have to get it up. And sure, some people are like, yeah, that's so easy. But for other people, they're like, it's easier not doing that and using the things that I'm used to. So there is a little bit of a impediment there.
I think I wouldn't mind the time investment to set that up as long as it was easy for my in-laws to use, because they come over and they watch the kids, and I got to be honest, it's embarrassing, because I know my father-in-law he just wants to watch golf. He wants to see whatever golf thing's on. Right, show me some golf.
Right. Well, he's the answer to your larger question too, like, right? He's that guy. Then the question becomes program selection, because while Plex does a great job of unifying, you can put Hulu and Netflix in Plex. If you're just doing over the air and he wants to watch golf on the NBC Sports Network that day, or if it's on ESPN that day, then you're going to have to explain, oh, right, I don't have that, or I have that in Sling TV or PlayStation Vue, not in Plex. But here's the weird thing. If you do cable, and I know this sounds weird on a cord cutting show, but if you do cable, on a cable card in an HD home run, all of a sudden Plex is going to be the best cable system that he ever had.
Oh, wow. So you're saying like, okay, that's an interesting paradigm, right? Let's take this announcement and just say, new headline. Let's workshop new headlines. New headline. The cable box is dead. Long live this Plex thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, again, lot of setup, troubleshooting with cable cards, sometimes hard to get the cable card out of the cable company, et cetera. But once you've got it set up, then it's every channel with a DVR as big as the hard drive you can afford or the space you can get on Plex Pass, and anywhere you want. There's no more like, hey, Dad, I put the Plex app on. Now, don't forget, if you travel to, Kentucky, it's not going to show you the local channel anymore, and you're not going to get the Cubs game. No, it's all your channels are in the Plex app anywhere in the world you go. Okay,
so separate question. And again, this is what a terrible person I am, is that the moment they announce, congratulations, it's an ice cream buffet, all the ice cream you want. The first thing I ask is like, why are there not new ice cream flavors that haven't been invented yet? It's like,
yeah. So I see you have salted caramel, but I've seen that before.
Correct. How long is there a technological reason that this could not live as an app on PlayStation? I guess you need to be able to plug in because you have to record locally from your own antenna, right?
Nope, you can use Plex Cloud, and I'm checking because I think there is a Plex app for PlayStation.
Oh my God,
there is a Plex app for PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, well then I rescind my question, and I congratulate Plex for winning the game. Congrats.
Yeah. Now the only hang up may be the live TV aspect may not roll out to that version of the app right away, because they roll them out slowly, and this one's coming to Android TV and iOS, but the DVR function's over there, I'm pretty sure.
That's great. That's great. And what I love most about this story is that Plex, I got to be honest, Plex was never my out in front pick for the one to unify us all, but this sounds awfully close from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's all about, and Plex has been doing a great job of making it easier and easier and easier to set up. It used to be like, well, I don't really want to set up a NAS on my network. I know how to do it, but it's a pain. All right, great. Well, you can do cloud. You can just use Dropbox. It's fine. However much storage you got on Google Drive, that'll work. We'll use that. And then it's like, well, okay, now I don't want to do this. Well, you don't have live TV. Oh, well, great. We got live TV now. You can stream live TV now, wherever you want. Like, they're just trying slowly to get rid of all those objections. So, and they're coming at it from the direction of whatever is legal for you to do yourself, we're going to make as easy as possible. There are certain things we can't do because then we are the broadcaster. So they're staying out of the middle of it.
That's so smart, though. What a smart. And here's the only bummer is, okay, let's talk about how this substantively differs from something like Aereo. Because the last time we talked about this was when Aereo was doing his Supreme Court case. And this seems like functionally it's going to replace a lot of that Aereo space, right?
Yeah, because you are doing the antenna, and Slingbox, not Sling TV, Slingbox has been tested as the thing that allows you legally to broadcast to yourself. As long as you're not broadcasting to other people,
right, you
can do it. And Plex is taking advantage of that. They're like, you own the antenna. This is your signal, and you're giving it to yourself. You get to do that. We are not involved in the antenna or the reception of the signal or who it's going to. That's all on you, and therefore Plex can't be punished for that.
That's so amazing. That's so amazing to me that we are on safe ground here because you install your own antenna. But if you used Aereo's tiny antenna that was still yours and uniquely yours, then, that didn't pass the Supreme Court.
That was the whole question, right? Aereo was saying, hey, we're just renting an antenna. And the Supreme Court said, well, no, you're not. You're renting a big antenna and then pretending that it goes to individuals, and we don't buy it. We don't buy that it's an individual antenna.
Is that ultimately what broke that case down?
That's essentially what it was.
Them saying we don't believe your technology because I guess there was one claim that what they were doing was, yes, technically you're saying each person gets the antenna, but all of them together are serving as a very large singular antenna in tandem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
All right. You know what else is interesting? We got patrons who make this show possible just by giving us a little value back for the value they get from the show, Brian.
Dude, I'll tell you what, 1,717 of you beautiful, beautiful people, you Cordkillers out there, you guys derive some kind of value from our helpful insights on the world of cord cutting so that you can watch what you want when you want or whatever device you please. And they don't mind kicking us, I don't know, basically a tall or grande half calf frappuccino once every other month. Which is actually kind of like buy us one fancy Starbucks coffee every other month is all we ask.
Think of the people who do that every day, 5 days a week.
No, but we
just have to buy us one.
We just want one, not even every month, and we're gonna split. We'll split it. That's what $1 an episode gets you.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to remember our name or burn your hands on the steam.
That's true.
It's actually quite superior.
And also, you get, if you don't want to be offended when they try to take the God out of Christmas by saying Happy Holidays, save yourselves. Quit buying that stuff from Starbucks.
Just stay out of the whole argument.
Give us money.
Give your money to us.
That's that's a public service that we offer.
Exactly. And if we get 1,850 patrons, we're like about 130 or so away. We are going to start our new project to break up Spoiler in Time into by show feeds. So Spoiler in Time right now, we talk about 4 or 5 different shows each episode. This new archive would be like, hey man, I just want the Better Call Saul episodes. I just want the American Gods episodes. I just want the Game of Thrones episodes. They'd all be available in a single feed.
You know what it is? It's like a mixtape. You're gonna go through that experience, and you got this mixtape of me and Tom traveling through time and space, joining you step by step, so that every time you watch an episode, you could listen to your best friends, me and Tom, say, "Oh my God, did you watch that last night?"
Patreon.com/Cordkillers. And now, because of your dollars, we will tell you how to watch. Can't tell me how to watch. I mean, we'll tell you ways that you can use.
No, we're going to tell you how to watch. Here's how you're going to watch. You're going to watch
based on... We've talked about Tableau for quite a long time. We actually bought a Tableau and tested it out. Tableau is the tuner that you plug your own hard drive in, you plug your antenna in, and then you could stream it over a Roku, say, and get over-the-air channels that way. It had DVR capability. That's why you want the hard drive. Well, now there's the Tableau Dual. Dual because it has 2 tuners, so you can record one thing while watching another, or 2 things that are on at the same time. Comes in a 20% smaller case and has 64 gigabytes of built-in storage. So you can still add up to 8 terabytes of storage with a USB drive, but it's got some storage built in now. $4.99 a month is the subscription to the expanded TV Guide offering. You get a basic TV Guide for free, but if you pay the $5 a month, you get episode and series synopses, cover art, metadata for 2 weeks ahead, and that helps plug your DVR subscriptions in place. Tableau Dual will be sold beginning on June 4th. That's yesterday, so it's on sale now for $250 exclusively at Best Buy stores and online in the U.S. and Canada.
So this is fairly familiar territory, right? I mean, in some ways, we could be time traveling back to 2001, talking about
this is the upgraded Tableau. The question is, like, does this change anybody's mind now that it's got the built-in storage and it's a little slimmer?
I'll tell you what, man. This thing was a non-starter when it involved providing your own external hard drive on there. I'm going to act like I don't understand why they did it, but I totally understand. It's like there's limitations and you got to cut corners somewhere in order to hit certain price points. So I understand why they did that. But to me, this is the first legitimate offering that they're making that I can say this is an all-in-one solution. Because now we are no longer at the place. The cord cutting revolution has been, by and large, spearheaded by people who are tinkerers, who don't mind doing the challenging, outrageous Rube Goldberg type of solutions in order to get what they want, when they want, on whatever device they want. That territory was largely occupied by piracy and by, Plex is increasingly the legitimate, proper solution. But Tableau, the first offering, just was too mushy middle. It wasn't all in one. It wasn't easy. And now this is easy, and this is super important that it's here.
Yeah, I still think it's niche because there are plenty of people who they're like, I don't need over-the-air access. I can get my local shows either by buying them as a pass or getting them on Hulu, or even paying for Sling TV or Hulu TV or something like that. YouTube TV is probably the best if it's in your market, which it's not for most people. But if it's in your market, they have ABC, CBS, NBC. Thing you never get anymore is the CW. The CW moved to its free app. So if you want to be able to watch CW shows and skip the commercials, then you're going to need a DVR solution. And this is a fairly affordable one at $250. Again, though, if you're willing to plug in your own tuner and if you can live with 64 gigabytes of storage, it's not a ton of storage. You're probably going to want to plug in an old USB drive at some point anyway.
Yeah, somehow I don't mind that because this is an out-of-the-box solution that works. And then weeks later, you experience the pain of like, oh, I filled up my drive. And you're like, well, I'll just add it to my list of to-dos. Let me, do the laundry. Let me, drop off the dry cleaning. Let me also pick up a hard drive and I'll take care of that. But out of the box, it being a non-functioning brick until you install a hard drive to it was just a little too DIY for my tastes.
But there's plenty of us who have spare hard drives. We're
sure. But that doesn't excuse it in my mind for behavior of a consumer device,
All right. Let's get into what to watch in Under Surveillance.
Yep.
It's all about location.
Under Surveillance.
Apple Senior Vice President of Internet Software and Services, Eddie Q, tweeted that the Carpool Karaoke series will debut August 8th on Apple Music. Remember, it kept getting delayed. They thought it was going to come now, and then it got delayed again, and then it was going to be now. Now we've got an actual date. August 8th, it premieres. The series will run weekly for 16 episodes, exclusively for Apple Music subscribers.
Can I ask our resident demographic millennial, Bryce Castillo?
Sure. Bryce, could you speak on behalf of all people in your age group?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. How big a deal is this? Is this like finally the fists can come unclenched?
I actually don't. I don't follow the series very much. I've really seen I've maybe seen one full Carpool Karaoke, and it being like a late night show, like sketch.
A bit.
Yeah.
I
almost don't know if it's just for millennials, right? I don't know. It's very successful as a YouTube clipped out. But then it's also a big deal for a late night television program. So
I guess
I actually think
that's the weird thing.
Crossover appeal.
Yeah, it seems like that kind of stuff lives and thrives in a viral sharing atmosphere, which it won't have. It'll be an exclusive behind a paywall and stuff.
There have been releases on Apple Music.
But the news today out of WWDC is that in Apple Music, you'll be able to share what you're watching and listening to. They said listening to, but I'm assuming this will count, with other people in Apple Music. So you just need all your friends to subscribe to Apple Music and it'll be fine.
Now, when Drake's Hotline Bling came out last year on Apple Music, that was a timed exclusive, but that still found its way around. I think this becomes a piracy issue when it's more of a piracy issue when it's a full-length TV show. But
yeah.
I
wonder if they'll make it available in the iTunes store to buy if you don't have Apple Music.
Probably. I mean, would you buy this kind of
I don't know if you
content?
would or not, but you should do that option for people who are like, I really want to watch it, but I refuse to subscribe to Apple Music, and my only option is piracy. You should have it in the store. So you're like, nah, well, you could pay for it too.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to see a lot of copies of this content, like backwards, slowed down 20%, and on YouTube.
I mean, or are we? That I think that's the biggest. Like, Apple should hope they'll be fighting that problem.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
HBO programming chief Casey Bloys told Entertainment Weekly that season 8 of Game of Thrones might not air until 2019. Bloys said we'll have a better sense of that once they get further into the writing. But again, HBO taking that patient, they've been doing this a lot, saying, hey, we just take a patient outlook with things. We don't rush the development. We air it when it's right. But man, here's what I'm going to say, Brian. If we don't get the next book from George R.R. Martin before a delayed final season of Game of Thrones, I will be sad. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it, but that's super frustrating.
I will not. I will not. The books and the television show are sufficiently divorced in my mind. They are.
If you're gonna have to wait, like 2 years between seasons, essentially.
I mean, then yes, I will have I will have 15% of the weight that I've had on the books, and that will be pretty great. I would love to only wait 2 years.
Positive.
I would love to know for a fact that any book is forthcoming in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
that's
great.
No,
you're right. You're right. But man, you know what? As frustrating as this sounds to me to have to wait between season 7 and 8. I do love that they're like, nah, you know what? We're not going to rush them and have them make an inferior product.
Yeah, well, and they know. Like here's the thing: everybody involved in this project has their head wrapped around the legacy aspect of stuff. Those who are going to make a lot of money are now making a lot of money. You know, the principal actors who are still in the game. This is the big finale, and they're all getting decent paychecks per episode, but everybody else working on this stuff, I gotta feel like that this is the end, and they want to make sure it's right, and that it enters the pantheon of great television in all of history. And I think that's a big part of what they're focused on, and what they want is the opportunity to wait a bit to make sure that was the case.
AMC is developing a show based on Joe Hill's Nosferatu vampire novel. Jamie O'Brien, who worked on the network's Hell on Wheels and Fear the Walking Dead shows, will be the show's executive producer. Writers' Room will pitch a developed full first season for greenlight, no pilot. AMC will look at the full first season pitch and give it the green light or not.
You know what? That's so ballsy. I love hearing that. Good. Yeah. That's the way it should be.
I mean, it's kind of like the HBO thing of like, let's just make good shows.
Yeah.
And let's not make you shoot a pilot and then go, no, shoot a pilot divorced. Make sure that you've got a strong first season. That's what we want to see.
Well, and plus also name the number of times that you've ever loved a series and then gone back and watched the pilot and thought, oh, and the pilot's even better than the series itself was.
Right. This pilot very much predicted that I would love this series. That's all I needed to know.
Instead, you get Encounter at Farpoint, and you're like, oh, good God, this is garbage.
Or Face is played by a different actor. What the hell?
Yeah. Yes, exactly, right?
I love this idea because it says we want a good, solid, continuous story. I'm waiting for the day somebody's like, we want all 6 seasons planned out now.
I believe that'll happen. And you could certainly do that when you diversify all your interests. For example, I think a little bit of that might have been happening with American Gods, where it's like, okay, we know this is a good story. We know there's big visuals. We know that there's a chance for 4-quadrant programming in here. Let's get this cast of characters assembled. Okay, everybody is written in pencil. They've signed on it. So it's like, let's pull the trigger. It's going to be a huge, huge expense, but the odds of all of these vectors failing are very, very small.
All right, let's take a moment to check in with Ayaz Akhtar from CNET, who's always keeping track of what's coming to the net for you to watch. Ayaz?
It's June. Here's what's new to watch online. The 5th season of Orange is the New Black should pick up right from that cliffhanger of Season 4. Season 5 arrives on Netflix on June 9th. Season 1 of Glow hits Netflix on June 23rd. The show stars Allison Brie as a wrestler in the professional wrestling organization known as Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Glow is brought to you by Genji Cohen, the creator of Orange is the New Black. Over on Hulu, you can catch Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and its sequel starting on June 1st. Mr. Mom, starring Michael Keaton, arrives on Hulu and Amazon Prime on June 1st. A lot of the jokes are dated now, but it does teach us the valuable lesson that you should never feed a baby chili. 1987's Over the Top makes its way to Hulu and Amazon Prime on June 1st as well. This might be the greatest arm wrestling father-son movie to ever star Sylvester Stallone. On June 17th, you can check out Star Trek Beyond. And guess what? It's also on both Amazon and Hulu. And finally, Disney's Moana hits Netflix on June 20th. And that's just Netflix. You got it? For full lists of everything coming and going online, check out cnet.com/netpicks. I'm Ayaz Akhtar for cnet.com.
Thank you, Ayaz. And now I have You the Best Around stuck in my head.
Wait, no, that was from Karate Kid. Did they also play that on
Oh no, what's the Over the See, that got stuck in my head incorrectly because you're right, it is from Karate Kid. But Over the Top has a iconic montage song.
You're over the top. You have flexed your arms. You're over the top.
Don't get it stuck in my head.
Your son.
That old earworm. Yeah. I think it's the Sammy Hagar song. Anyway, let's talk about what we were watching instead. Brian, what have you been filling your eyeballs with?
Holy cow, a little bit of TV I've been watching. Of course, Fargo. We didn't get a Better Call Saul episode this week on account of the holiday. And so I have watched the latest Fargo, Justified. I did watch Wonder Woman. Watched the finale of The Leftovers. And I watched Leah Remini, Scientology, The Aftermath. She did a bonus. Basically, they ran cameras as they did their AMA, and they just cut together an hour-long special out of it, which is so fascinating to hear the nuance in what they're saying with their position, where it's like, okay, yes, Scientology has some crazy beliefs, but they're genuinely crazy, but we don't really believe the crazy parts no more than, you think a rib was yanked out of a dude and made into a woman. Those are just our myths. But also, you shouldn't hate them for the crazy things. You should hate them for the literal murder of malpractice and maltreatment they've given as they keep people imprisoned and psychologically conditioned to be soft in Scientology. And I don't know, it's fascinating to watch.
That does sound fascinating, and I'm fascinated with that story as well. Winner Takes It All by Sammy Hagar.
Nicely done,
Winner
sir.
Takes it all.
Hey,
did
did you watch all
I'm
of
just
the
gonna keep singing the song.
Did you watch all of the Leftovers? Are you caught up?
I did, yeah. I caught up. I watched the one that I failed to watch in time for last Monday's show on Tuesday, and then last night I watched the finale. So I am ready to talk both about the penultimate episode and the finale. And believe me, I saw your Twitter post about the show's description where it says, all of your questions are answered, none of them are answered, and then it ends.
Yes.
I wanted to look it up and I didn't get a chance. I feel like Damon Lindelof said that about the finale of Lost when he was being badgered about it after it aired, or at least something similar. So I would almost guarantee that Damon Lindelof wrote that description.
I hope so, and we'll talk about how satisfying an ending it was later on. But spoiler alert, I think I'm a bigger Carrie Coon fan now than I've ever been. She's a phenomenal talent.
I actually really, really like the way they wrapped it up. In the same way that I like the way they wrapped up Lost, which means a lot of people probably hated the way they wrapped it up.
We'll save that for spoiler in time coming up.
I've also been keeping up on Handmaid's Tale, which I forget I'm watching on Hulu. In my opinion, it is the best thing Hulu has ever made. I haven't watched everything Hulu's made, so there may be something better out there that I missed. But of the things that I have sampled, this just is a hit television show. And even if you haven't watched it yet, I would recommend at some point jumping in and watching it. The only thing is it's intense. It's a very strong drama with, not a lot of happy times in it. So if you need a pick me up, this isn't the thing to watch that afternoon, but it's a really well told story.
Awesome. Very cool.
Twin Peaks, on the other hand, woo, way crazy and too much Dougie, but I'm still enjoying it.
Can hold on. I don't want to get into spoiler. I guess we can get into a little bit of spoiler light. Are you happy or disappointed with
I am
what
happy.
you got?
I am happy, but it is not an accessible thing. Whereas I still feel like the first season of Twin Peaks, you can give to people and say, hey, watch this. You might like it.
Right.
I don't think you can give the return to people who aren't firmly Twin Peaks fans already, or really big David Lynch fans who somehow never saw Twin Peaks, which I don't think is likely to exist. But you have to be one of those two, or both. If you are those, then there's loads of stuff that's fun to watch and a joy to puzzle out, and I'm having a good time. There's one character in particular, though, that I'm kind of over. I'm like, okay, I get it. Let's wrap this up and move on.
Is it backward talking log lady? Does she come back?
Nope. It's not anybody. There are backwards talking people, but I'm fine with all of those.
Okay, right on.
And Log Lady shot her scenes like months before she died. So those scenes were poignant. It's like, oh, wow. Like, there's a lot of dead people in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Every episode has an in memoriam for somebody that was in that episode who's no longer with us.
That's the way I feel every time I see any animal in any movie ever. If it's been more than 10 years, like that dog, I'm like, that dog's dead now.
Well, and the crazy thing is this was just shot in the last 2 years. And so people who were alive for shooting it are now gone.
Wow. That's crazy.
All right, let's cheer things up, Bryce, please. What are you on the lookout for?
Hey, I saw this as I was walking out the door today. But on Netflix now, you can watch Marvel's Doctor Strange. We know Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, that is probably one of the best written movies I've ever seen.
Just he mentions casually.
So if you don't know Doctor Strange, it's about he's a brain surgeon, is that right?
Yeah, neurosurgeon.
A neurosurgeon who through a car accident has his hands messed up. But when he goes to try to find a way to heal his hands, he gets super crazy magic hands. And Tilda Swinton is there, and there's the visual effects on Doctor Strange might be some of the best in cinema history, right? In terms of very overt computer graphics.
Well, in innovative styles, like it doesn't matter how well you execute a rip in the sky that blue stuff comes out of. We've seen that a lot before, right?
Right.
Whereas the only time we've ever seen visuals like this is Inception, but I would say that they're better executed here and that they're more dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, there's a solid 2 minute. The sequence is like 2 minutes in the first act. Or maybe it's the second, I don't know, where the person is traveling through places, and the actual concepts of things that are being shown are just astounding. It's really great. But not only is it a lot of fun to look at, it's well made. It's well made and it's well written. Spoiler alert: Cargill's our friend, and for like a kind of origin story standalone Marvel movie, I think it's really entertaining.
Cargill will be the first to point out that it's the highest grossing single Marvel hero movie in history. And I'm going to tip the, you know what, I'll just go ahead and ruin the email that is coming up here. Somebody wrote us pointing out that Rotten Tomatoes, spoiler alert, Tom's wife works for Rotten Tomatoes, just released their rundown of all the greatest highly rated comic book movies, and number 10, top 10 of all time was this one, was Doctor Strange, which is just remarkable.
Yeah, so that's Doctor Strange. You can find it on the American and the Canadian Netflix. Of course, you can buy and rent it on most digital services. Also, on Netflix, it has the English audio descriptions. So if you're someone who likes to listen,
so great.
or if you're visually impaired, they're little bit.
Do you know what I use those for nowadays? Is I cannot turn on any video stuff when I fall asleep. My eyes will betray me and they'll insist on opening. Yeah. But when the audio description is there, I can leave it running on the phone. I wish there was a sleep timer. That's the only bummer to me, is I want a sleep timer on the Netflix app. But I'll listen and re-experience a movie that way.
Though with a movie, right, it'll end after an hour and a half. If
That's
it's
true.
A series, it'll go on and on
yeah.
and on. And on. So check that out.
Look, man, you had me at super crazy magic hands. Hey, folks, if you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. Real quickly, if you want to support Brian and I in our other adventures, we have lots of them going on. And in fact, one of them is Damn Fine Podcast, where Ron Richards and I break down every episode of Twin Peaks The Return as it happens. If you're like, hold on, I need to catch up on Twin Peaks before I start watching The Return on Showtime, we got you covered there too. We did an entire rewatch of every single episode of Twin Peaks, Season 1, Season 2, Fire Walk With Me, and the books. And it's all available as a podcast at damnfinepodcast.com. Listen, subscribe, tell your friends, enjoy it with a nice slice of pie and a black cup of coffee. Let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines.
So Amazon Prime Video coming to Apple TV. It will integrate with the TV app later this year. They announced this at WWDC today, and it was the fastest of all their announcements. They spent almost no time on it. They gave us no details. They did not distinguish whether this would mean the store where you buy videos to play on Amazon's video service, or if it would just be Amazon Prime Video instant streaming. So those details yet to come. And they said they'll have more about Apple TV later this year. So Brian, I would expect we'll get more details on the Amazon part of this later this year, and also maybe a 4K version of the Apple TV.
Yeah, no, I hope all of that stuff. I understand tactically why they would just real quick sweep this past. Like, anyway, we got Amazon, you crybabies. But this is huge. This is, or could be huge. This could be huge. It could be big. Bryce, you were saying that you noticed some inconsistencies on the language that they were using on this.
Yeah, well, it's kind of what Tom mentioned, right? In all of the press releases and the tweets and stuff, it's referred to as Amazon Prime Video, which is what's called when you have the Prime subscription service. These are the free videos that you can also stream instantly.
Which is different from
Amazon Instant Video, which is the store and the rental space.
Right.
So,
which you don't have to be a subscriber to Amazon Prime to take advantage of.
Right. But also you can't make purchases or rent movies on the iOS app of the Prime Video. So I think there's a chance that this is another similar implementation to the iOS app where you can just watch things that you own or have access to on Prime Video.
Yep.
Yeah. What I would like is I guess what I'd be okay with is if I can still buy and rent videos on Amazon and have them show up in the Apple TV app. I understand that there's still this 30% cut dispute, and that Apple TV, that Amazon won't want to give a portion of their sales to Apple and therefore won't let me purchase things through the app on Apple TV. But they should at least give me access to it if it's there.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think I would be in the same place because very rarely do I ever buy any media from our living room television. In fact, like I'll run over to my office, hop on, buy the thing, and then run back and be like, okay, look now, and then hit play on it.
As long as I get access. But Bryce is right. They only ever said Amazon Prime Video, and that is the big thing that's missing because Apple has its own store. You can rent and buy things from Apple. So, if you're just looking for a way to do that thing, you have that already in Apple TV. What you don't have is the ability to watch The Man in the High Castle or Mozart in the Jungle. Those shows are not available to you on an Apple TV until this app comes out. And we don't know when it's coming out. They just said later this year.
In other uplifting news, less than a month after the premiere of season 2, Netflix has decided not to renew Sense8 from the Wachowski siblings and J. Michael Straczynski. You finished the first season. Did you get into the second season at all?
No, I talked about this on another show, I think on Current Geek. The Christmas episode kind of made us stumble because it's so long. It's longer than a normal Sense8 episode. And every time we went to watch it, we're like, we don't have enough time. And now that season 2 is out, we're like, I know we don't have to watch the Christmas episode, but we really should watch that before we watch season 2. And then we're like, but we don't have enough time. I think it is interesting, though, that this and The Get Down both are shows with fairly enthusiastic fan bases, albeit small, that Netflix is like, it's too small, I guess.
Well,
we don't need to keep spending money on it.
So what's funny is the very nature of the time frame. I was surprised to hear less than a month after the season 2 comes out, they announced there'll be no more. But also a month in the 21st century, a month is plenty of data to know whether or not it's resonating. Like nobody's using it. We're spending a lot of money and not enough people are watching it. So whatever
and the majority
it is
of people
in the
are probably
DNA,
watching within the first week, right?
Right. Correct.
Rayo, spelled R-H-E-O, Rayo, is a video discovery app developed by a bunch of former Apple employees. Rayo has been on Apple TV for a while and is now expanding to iOS and the web. If you haven't used it yet, what you do in Rayo is pick a channel based on your mood. The app then personalizes selections based on time of day, your previous interests that you've expressed, what's trending, your past viewing behavior. Content comes from all over the place, from Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, Refinery29, and more. So the idea is like, I want a comedy. And then it not only picks a comedy, but also picks a comedy based on what else it knows about you.
Man, I don't know that I even trust that job to my wife. I don't know that I'm going to trust it to an app. But we'll see.
I mean, to me, it's not about trust or not. It's about performance.
That's true.
That's true. If it starts to work, then I'm all in, right? Like it's just none of these things have worked before. So you're rightly skeptical to be like, why is this one going to work?
Yeah. Yes. Meanwhile,
Same with wives.
Sling is adding an option for traditional grid view of programming. The previous guide is being renamed the Channel Guide. The feature launches first on Android and then will follow to other platforms. Sling is also adding a shows button to find on-demand content. How curious. Why do you think they fought this from the beginning? Do you think they were fighting
Everybody does. Have you noticed that? Like, everybody's like, we're not going to do the traditional grid. We've got a better idea.
It'll be just a menu of everything.
Grid is pretty time-tested, and maybe we're just all used to it, but every time there's a grid, I'm like, this is so much easier to navigate. I mean, I'll give PlayStation View some credit for they do a different grid. It's up and down instead of side to side, which sometimes has its advantages. But yeah, I mean, it's just scannable. It's easy. It works. Do it.
Agreed.
DirecTV Now has launched an app for Roku. Bloomberg reports DirecTV Now peaked with 328,000 subscribers in January, lost 3,000 in February, and was flat in March. I'm not sure if this is going to give it a big boost. And it is showing a disturbing trend, Brian, where Roku's getting its apps later and later, if at all. Hulu, for instance, no Hulu Live TV, no Hulu TV function for Roku. As a Hulu TV subscriber, I have to go to Apple TV to watch Hulu TV, not to my Roku.
Interesting. Yeah, I got to tell you, it's I'm a bit astonished with that number, 330,000 subscribers. That don't seem like a lot for as big a brand as it is, but it's also a big brand. It's a spin-off, a splinter of a big brand for a cord-killing targeted audiences, and by all accounts had a pretty botched launch. So that makes me feel like
there's more competition now, right? If I've been a PlayStation Viewer Sling TV subscriber for a while, I'm probably hearing all of these horror stories about DirecTV Now and saying, hey, I lived through those with my brand. Why would I give that up now and switch to this other one?
Right.
All right, let's get to the dispatches from the front. Previously on Cordkillers, Lisa wrote in about her decision to cancel Star's streaming service because it didn't offer anything of interest beyond American Gods. She'll just wait to purchase it in a year when it's made available. Brian praised her for making a logical decision, while your guest Ron Richards balked at the idea of waiting that long to watch a show. Perhaps, says Patreon supporter Jesse, a.k.a. hometown rival, perhaps there's a way for Lisa to have her cake and still have had eaten it. How can I have eaten my cake and yet it still be in my hand? Jesse has the solution. Instead of waiting a year and paying anywhere from $25 to $40 to own the first season, why not wait until the season ends and just pay another $8 to $10 for the streaming service and binge watch it within the month? She'll get to watch it sooner and pay a lot less to do so.
Tell you what, man, this is the kind of thing. It would help to have some kind of, digital concierge who understands your habits and knows what you would like to think and make that prescription for you.
I'm trying to think you should start that.
No, hello, I'd like you to look at my plate. You will notice there's no room for anything else on it. Tony writes in, hey killers, I've been running a Plex server for years to keep my library of ripped DVDs, Blu-rays, music, and photos available to stream on just about any device. We have an antenna for over the air, but I never bothered to get a tuner to set up Plex DVR till I heard about the live TV support. So I decided to drop $70 on a Hauppauge. That's what it is. It's Hauppauge. It's a hard G at the end. Hauppauge Win TV Dual HD and try it out. Setup was super easy. It was scanned for channels and found most. I could swear I was able to pick up a CBS affiliate before, but it's not finding it. Streaming live works great on my iPhone and iPad, but it does take several seconds to connect and buffer. Ultimately, those are the only devices I have that live TV works on. I see it's coming to Apple TV soon, but I hope Roku gets some live TV love soon as well. I have a Roku connected to the media room TV, and the TV is in the bedroom, is a TCL Roku TV, which we have right here in studio. They're super cheap. So that's what we use for Plex and all of our streaming needs. I like the guide functionality, and the regular DVR function for scheduling recordings are nice. Although I know those aren't new, but new to me. With Hulu Plus commercial free, though, there's really not much I'd record with it, but being able to watch live TV on the Roku without leaving the Plex environment and having the guide information available will be nice when Roku gets it. Thanks, guys. Your patron, Tony. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thanks for the review, Tony. Dan wrote in with a tip for getting stubborn media into Vudu. For dumb, nonsense millennial reasons, I've been in the process of getting rid of all my physical media and local storage and switching over to cloud storage for my media. Sounds like a good idea to me. I decided the best option for me was to do the disc to digital conversion on Vudu. I have a decent mix of DVDs and Blu-rays, so it was another nice opportunity to upgrade my 480p content to 1080p. I also like that the movies don't use any storage on my cloud storage providers. Anyway, while doing the conversion, I found that some of my barcodes wouldn't scan for one reason or another. Maybe it was a missing back cover or a sticker covering the barcode. So after hitting my head against the wall trying to do image searches for the back cover to scan, I found an excellent website that solved the issue. UPC Item Database at upcitemdb.com. Type in the name of the movie, the product search, it'll provide the UPC barcode for the item. Every movie that I couldn't scan physically, I was able to find and convert without issue. Hopefully this tip helps anyone in the same situation.
All right. I will report facts without suggesting you do anything one way or another. But disc to digital is an affordable way to purchase movies based on the idea that you probably have purchased a new or used copy of them previous to it. Just seems like $2 a pop. And you need a UPC code. It seems like I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah. You're not saying anything.
That seems like an extraordinary website. That would be.
It is an interesting storage of information that should be used responsibly.
All right, we got a long one. You ready for the long one?
Can you summarize it?
No. Yes. Well, you know what? I'm looking at it. It's long enough that, you know what? Let's read. Lots of really good thoughts came from this letter from Armando, but we'll keep the most relevant one on his journey. He says, Armando writes in saying he had DirecTV for 15 years and was fed up with the cost increases and lousy customer service. His TV bill for 4 TVs was over $165, and he said enough. So on top of that, they already had Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu, which, by the way, we've talked a lot about, Tom, means everyone acts like those are replacements, and everyone knows that it's like, come on, be real. That's not a replacement. You have that in addition to cable. Yeah. Several years ago, I purchased a Sony Blu-ray surround system that had all 3 over-the-top apps, which made it easy to stream that content. He says he put a $50 antenna in the attic, connected it to a 2-tuner Tableau, bought from a refurb unit for $135, and a 2 terabyte hard drive for $65. Signed up for PS View. Says it's been going great. His only challenge has been Hallmark and Lifetime channels for the wife and daughter. Likely, we'll have to supplement for a few months while their favorite shows come online. He says he's played around with Plex as well and has been an interesting option. He found it very easy to cancel DirecTV. He says he has Comcast internet with 90 megabits download, and he's curious about their upcoming instant TV offering. Who knows, might provide my missing pieces. I pay $50 a month, which I think is fair. They always try to bundle me up, but I just say no. Thank you for all the kind words, Armando, and congrats on your journey.
David in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, very kindly wrote, in summary, I was taken for a ride when I resubscribed to cable, but overall I don't have regrets. With cable, you're paying to be first in line, but if you don't have the time, it's just not worth it. And frustrating when you want to watch a recording and the cable DVR will only play on the local connected TV only. That's why that Plex situation is so interesting, because it gets around that thing. But I love his line about cable is for paying to be first in line. You're like, I want to make sure that everything I possibly can have is available for me as soon as it comes out, and I never want to have to wait. And if that's what you want, cable probably is still one of the most compelling options. It used to be the only option. Now there's PlayStation View and Hulu TV, and they're getting better. But yeah, I mean that's it's a narrowing case, right? It's like, no, I have to have access to everything. I don't even know what I'll want access to, and I need it immediately. If that's your case, yeah, maybe cable's still right for you.
Yeah, man, I gotta tell you, the parts that disgust me about cable are increasingly less about the expense and whatever, and instead they're about just the infrastructure, the having to know channel numbers and the live appointment viewing and all that stuff.
Well, and that's why I'm changing my mind about the TV app on Apple TV. The more apps that they have hooked up to it, the more I find myself using it, because it's nice to just look up there at the top of my Apple TV and it's like, oh, yeah, I want to watch the next episode of The Handmaid's Tale. And there it is, because it knows the last one I watched. Boom. I didn't have to launch Hulu. I didn't have to know it was on Hulu. It's
Pretty
just
good.
there.
Pretty good.
All right. Well, that is it for this episode of Cordkillers, my friends. The last words from Brian Brushwood on today's episode are
parsimony.
Don't forget it. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on diamondclub.tv Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We will cut all the cords for you and report back next week.
Hey guys, Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cordkillers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
let's go.
It's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.